Tried the sideways pass, but intercepted. They normally make you pay the Tigers. Bolton's going to take on the tackle. Redmond got him cold. There's something to celebrate, Essendon.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Don Pod for the review of Dreamtime at the G. Essendon 48 to the Tigers 80-something. I really should have had that prepared. My apologies. How are you, Nathan?
I'm good, Sam, but I just realised I had not gone to my virtual background because I'm sure people do not want to see my brewing equipment in the background. Boring.
I'm sure they don't. Don's 48, Richmond 80, if I could just get my little ducks in a row.
Did we lose? How'd that happen? That wasn't meant to happen, Sam.
We weren't meant to lose last week either.
No, well, yeah, but we were especially not meant. But what about Tip and Woody? We were meant to play for Tipper.
Interesting that. I think we'll start with that, I guess. Very, very, very sad.
Very sad.
And I was going to start with some Walla highlights, but I might cry, which isn't good content.
Did you watch his speech?
No, I watched his speech to the players. I haven't seen the speech that the club put out today.
I haven't seen the one today, but I watched the one to the players.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Oh.
Yeah. Very sad. Give me your favourite Walla moment.
The tackles are probably my favourite. The one against the Collingwood guy,
Hoskin Elliott.
Yeah, Hoskin Elliott.
Yep.
He tackled, I reckon, Dusty Martin a couple of times.
Got Dusty a couple of times.
Yeah,
I have to say that.
Yeah, the highlights. And probably my favourite one was a bump on Dangerfield. When Dangerfield was about to take a mark, Walla just hit him with the shoulder, and Dangerfield, or Dramafield, as I like to call him, went down and was like, "Ooh, I've been hit by something." Yeah. So that were the moments I loved. Those
for me, there was one where he cleaned up a Giants player, and I can't remember who it was. And then there was a really great photo that he helped him up
Whitfield
after it. Yep. Doesn't take much. You can be rough and tumble, but you can
100%.
still be a good sportsman-like behaviour. But without doubt, the goal against North Melbourne in 2019 will be with me until the day I die. That was just the most.
You were at that game, weren't you?
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
unfortunately. But I blacked out just about celebrating the goal. So, yeah, one of my favourite football memories ever, that one. Real shame. Obviously, he's quite comfy with his decision, which is all that really matters. It was good to see him out there on Saturday night doing some pre-match stuff, but didn't really get the attention it deserved at the ground. It wasn't mentioned at any point, which was a bit of a shame. But anyway, yeah, sad. Probably one of our, I don't even know, our best small forward ever.
I think what the thing about Walla is that he is genuinely loved by other clubs and other supporters. He's not that. He's the sort of player that I think everyone would have cheered for. But they
wrote a song about him.
They wrote a song about him. He's pretty good at footy. Yeah, sad because we all loved him, but also this is football. This is life. This is the way things go. You don't always get the premiership victory lap walk away.
No. Did he play 100 games? I'm sure.
Yeah, 120 odd.
Okay, great. So if he has some sons, we'll be on to that.
Or daughters.
Or daughters, yeah. Apologies. Well, I'm sure there would be a similar thing. Father, daughter.
Yeah.
You play for the club. You play for the club.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, good to get that one out of the way nice and early. We'll move on to slightly less depressing things. I'll do the run over of the game. Parish.
Give us the details, Sam.
Parish 43 disposals, Merritt 33, Redmond 29. 2 goals for Hobbs of all people. Singles to Waterman, Bran, Francis, Perkins, and Dylan Shield. For the Tigs, Dion Prestia, who also won the best on ground award, 36 for him, 30 to Baker, 29 to Short. Goals, 4 to Rewalt, 2 to Bolton and Morris Rioli, and singles to Edwards, Castagna, and Soldo. It was a weird game. I don't know how you go on telly because it is different being there versus.
It wasn't a great game on telly. Like it didn't look at any stage that we were. I didn't feel like we were going to win it. Like they were.
Yeah,
they were doing what they were doing very easy. But then we do a bit. We just we kicked a goal. Or
I think that was my first sort of summary to you was that we were in it, but never really a chance.
Yeah.
It was bizarre.
Which was better than other weeks to some degree.
Well,
and probably about where I expect us to be.
And the one thing I think we both want to highlight tonight is not just tackles. It was 64 tackles, which is our highest count for the year.
See, we can do it.
Parish
we can
8.
Do it. We like
Parish
to hug.
8, Shield 7, Heppel 6, Redmond 5, and then I didn't go much further than that. I do want to talk about Shield just ever so slightly. It wasn't a brilliant game by any stretch. 19 touches, kicked a lovely goal from the pack. It was a really nice goal. And the 7 tackles. So good. Like that, that's a good game. I know he fumbles a bit and all that, but
he can't pick the ball up below. Well, he can't pick the ball below his knees. The ball's often is below your knees when you're trying to pick it up.
Where you pick it up from,
yeah. But he just cannot pick the ball up cleanly anymore. I don't know what's wrong with him, but I watch him a lot of times stumble into the ball, like pat it, pick it up.
That was a major difference between the two sides. Richmond was so ridiculously clean. And we fumbled just collectively, not just Shield. But
in marks and on the ground and a lot of things, we weren't clean.
Yeah. But I do want to mention Shield just because I think that's a good response to the hate and the criticism. 7 tackles is awesome. 19 touches isn't
you can mention him.
Great, but the goal was really nice too. Das obviously had a good game. I walked out of there. We didn't stick around for the presentation after.
Yep.
I got no idea who was best on. I wouldn't have said Parish had 43. I certainly wouldn't have said Prestia had 36. And I went with some Richmond mates as well, and he was saying maybe Rewalt for the 4 goals. Like he was pretty clueless as well. It was a weird game to then look at the stats and go Parish 43, Prestia 36 was just weird. Not a terribly good game to watch either. 6 50-metre penalties to us, which makes you go, geez, Richmond must have been dirty. No, only one of them was from rough play.
Do we want to talk about that now or later?
Let's stick to the game first. We're going to get to the umpiring in general.
Umpiring in general too, not umpiring against us or anything like that. We're not.
No. We had the rub of the green. We had the rub of the green that last.
But umpiring at the moment in
general.
all games.
I do want to mention that moment that played in the intro, the Redmond tackle on Shai Bolton. Context, Nick Martin had it half forward, pretty much on the edge of the centre square. For some reason, turned sideways, trying to kick to a bloke in the dead centre of the edge of the centre square. Richmond bloke intercepted, they got the ball back, and the commentary actually says, Richmond are so damaging from this position, they'll make you pay. As Redmond grabs Shai Bolton, drags him to the ground, gets the free kick, and then gets 50. It's a shame he missed the shot, but he's a defender, so we'll forgive him for that.
Well, he wasn't on the run.
Yeah, true.
He should have went back another 20 metres and got some pace up and just came in.
The tackle he laid on Shai Bolton, as soon as I saw it was Shai Bolton, I went, oh, God. There is no way he gets tackled.
Yeah. And that 50-metre was there.
What did he do? I didn't.
Well, he had the ball in his hand, and then he sort of just put it on the ground.
Oh, he put it down. That's right. Yeah, that one.
And the umpire went 50, and he went, "What?" And I went, "No, that's 50. You're not allowed to."
If he questioned him.
Well, he did question him, but he didn't get the second 50.
Stupid rules.
There's a little arm movement like this. Should have been another 50.
Should have been it. It was awesome tackle, like textbook.
Yeah.
And probably Red Dog's best game that I can remember.
Question. Red Dog on a wing.
I don't hate it because he can kick that running goal. He's generally okay by foot. But
he's also got a defensive, surely he's got a defensive attitude. Yeah. So he can go back and help. Because Guelphy did a hamstring, didn't he?
Yes. Well, yeah, we're assuming.
So I haven't read anything about it, to be honest, but I'm assuming that's weeks, like normal hamstring.
At least one, if he got subbed out with it, yeah.
Yeah. So, a replacement there. Obviously, Redmond's not playing this week because he's got a week too, so it's another issue. But I don't love Guelphy on a wing. There's my statement.
You asked me to try and pay attention to that.
Yep.
the game, which I did for the first little bit and then got a bit bored because we started losing. And it was Durham and Guelphy with the default sort of setup.
Yep.
Hobbs was on the wing a couple of times. Merritt was on the wing at least twice,
Which
I don't understand at all. How
somebody explain to me that.
Your best kick out of your midfield on the wing.
Who's our two best midfielders? Like the moment,
not hard.
with the injuries we're dealing with, like you can put Stringer in there when he's fit. You might put Langer in there when he's fit. That's fair enough. But at
Doesn't
the
matter.
moment,
it's Parrish and Merritt across the board.
Parrish and Merritt, yeah, all day.
Yeah, makes no sense. Yeah, I'm okay with Redmond there.
Just on that, Sam.
You go, no, go.
Sorry. Yeah, I just want to jump in on that. So just for centre bounce attendance, Merritt went to 8 and Parrish was at 20, Cochin at 18, McGrath 17, Draper at 15. So
McGrath
at 13.
That's a change of role for McGrath, surely.
Yeah. So why is McGrath getting the centre bounces and Merritt's kicked to the wing?
Makes no sense.
I'm confused by it.
Jordan Toole in the comments I don't normally mention the comments just yet, but he just reminded us that he said Red Dog on a wing about 4 weeks ago and we laughed at him. So
we did, and we apologise.
Apologies for that. We didn't think he was best 22 at that point in time, probably.
Oh, well, no. What we thought was that Kelly was going to push him out, but Kelly.
Excellent segue. Love a good segue. Kelly was on the bloody angry pills. Oh my God. He didn't have a brilliant game. I understand that. But every time he went near the ball or a Richmond player went near him, with the ball, whatever, he was just pissed off. And I got to say, I love it.
Well, I wasn't very happy with him, to be honest. I thought he had a shocking game, and I'm questioning why he's in the team. So go back to George, was it?
Jordan,
sorry. Apologies. Jordan, so when we talked about the team at the start of the year and Kelly was coming in, we were confused. Like I was like, well, where's Red Dog going to fit? Because they're not going to drop Heppel as the captain. They just don't do that unless you get great GWS. Hind had come off a great year. Laverde had come off a great year. We were talking about Stewart was iffy, but there's totally different roles there. We wanted to see Reed come in. So I was like, well, how do they carry this many defenders into the, so that was the reason why I couldn't see Redmond in the team. Here we are, round 10. Kelly, who I thought we brought in to play on smalls, but he was playing on Rewalt at stages last night, which is far from a small. And maybe he had to do that because Ridley was out, I guess. That might be the thing.
Yeah, that hurt. That was a big out.
Yeah, so, but watching a lot of that footage too, I watched a little bit of it today, just some of it on KO, that you can see bits where Kelly is 10 metres off Rewalt, if not more. And then Rewalt just leads the opposite way that he's already got the gap on. And he's taking these uncontested marks.
Tell you what, a couple of times that really stood out where, and I don't want to criticise Reed because he did keep Tom Lynch goalless. And you can't convince me otherwise.
Yeah, well, it's not possible.
Literally, Tom Lynch didn't kick a goal, so you can get stuffed. He just gave him a metre. Like, it wasn't a lot. But because of the ball use of Richmond through the middle and at times the ease of which they came back the other way, all they had to do was what you said then, but just slightly less distance. Kick it to the side where he's already got space, which they did because they're good. And Reed didn't really stand a chance. There was once I can remember, just while we're on Reed, he got out-muscled. No dramas there because he's 19 and playing against a bloke who's played AFL football for 10 years.
Lifted a lot more things in the gym.
Yep. Correct.
Picked him up and put him down many times.
Several times. I think there was one that got over the back, which was his fourth point where he hit the post from about 10 metres out, which was just lovely to see. Other than that, he competed really well, Reed.
Yep.
And you got to remember, this guy, Tom Lynch, kicked 6 goals on Darcy Moore the other week.
Yep.
Kicked 5 goals, I think, the week after. Was leading the Coleman, if not maybe second or third.
Yeah.
And although he kicked 4 points, they were hard shots. He had shots from 45 out on the 45-degree angle. He only had, I think, or the one from the goal square where it got over the back was a shocker. And I think one terrible set shot. But great game from
The other thing I want to mention
who signed a 3-year extension to that.
Yeah, I signed it. That was two things. That and the other thing I was going to mention too about the game was he didn't give away a free kick, which I think is a great effort for a tall defender. Dealing with that, especially the umpires at the moment, dealing with his pushing and touching. To not give away a free kick he's got a technique, that's working for him.
Got long arms. Something to do with that number 31 on his back.
Oh, it's a beautiful number.
While we're talking about giving away stupid free kicks, we have we think it's good. We have a new segment to introduce to the people.
Just hang on, stop. You were going to say we have a great new segment, and no, Sam, pull it back.
Stopped myself.
We have a
said,
segment.
We think it's good. We think it's got legs.
Yeah, I think you went for that, buddy.
I think it's wonderful. Anyway, it's called the Smack Moment.
Yeah.
Why is it called the Smack Moment? Because Sean McKernan Smack would do several good things and then prove to you that he still remained a bit of a spud.
He often would do something and go, "What the fuck?" and give away a free kick that you'd go, "Oh my god, what's he doing?" Good
player on his day. It's no disrespect.
Great player on his day, I'd say.
Smack, but it is just one player that I can think of that encompasses what the hell was that?
Yeah. What was
that?
That's
moment? What this is. What the hell was that moment? The Smack moment. Which I've already kind of talked about mine. That in the lead up to that Redmond tackle, Martin had the ball, kicked it to a bloke who was stationary, got intercepted, and then went, "What the hell? Like, why? You've got the ball, kick it into 50. I don't get kicking short to a 50-50 for one, let alone sideways and short to a 50-50. Rusty, I love you, but it just made no sense whatsoever.
It was a bad moment from a player that for first three quarters didn't play his best football, and I have no issue with how he played. But in the last quarter, he got motoring. I think he still covered something like 15 or 16 kilometers for the game.
Impressive.
Yeah, carrying that weight behind him.
He actually, if I can just interject there with a other little thing, he handballed straight to a Richmond player a couple of times. And that happened to them a few times too. So I wondered if there was just a little bit of the jumper clash, just in the real fire.
I wondered if it was just Marto.
Don't know. I think that's a bit dog
and
to
he's
do.
Like, oh, there's somebody who knows my last name.
It happened a couple of times, not too often. Like, not that it was an issue, but we did handball directly to them a couple of times.
There was one on a wing with
that didn't make any sense. Like
the one on the wing, I remember there was no Essendon player nearby. He's picked it up and he's just gone boom. Oh, and then he's chased after him, going, "Hang on, you're not wearing my team colours."
So I reckon there was just a smidge of a jumper clash. Anyway, is your smack moment the same?
Or I thought we were doing this as a joint thing.
Oh, we can.
Yeah,
great segment. Great segment. Well, I just told you mine. I hope you agree with that.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, sugar. We flirted with a bit of a Walla moment. You know, the awesome moment of the game, the inspiring moment, but we're not too sure of that.
Which was we were going to have as the Redmond tackle
shortly after, yeah. So let us know. Do you
want
both?
He missed the goal, so we felt like it couldn't.
Hey, I'm okay with him missing because.
But I think to make the moment, he has to do both things.
No, the tackle was phenomenal. It was
okay, fair enough.
A really good tackle. Any other thoughts on our game before we jog on a little bit?
Couple of things. One, I'm frustrated by our coaching or coaching structural coaching. Things like the merit on a wing. I really, someone's going to have to explain that to me.
We'll get Truck on next week.
Because I don't. Surely he goes. Anyway, the other thing that for this third feels like maybe probably more, but third or fourth game in a row, the team we've come up against has played a loose defender, an extra defender, or whatever we're calling it, and the number of times we were out. Like again, we were talking about that. Richmond, how they kicked into their forward line. That was 1-on-1s a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Whereas when it was kicked into our forward line, it was 2-on-1s, and it was often their 2 to our 1. It was never the other way around, I think. And I'm confused by that because I assume that means we've got an extra player around the ball, or we're playing an extra defender.
Well, I think that stands up because we do generally win clearances.
Yeah, but what's the point of winning the
Yeah, I
clearance?
know,
If
I'm
we
with
look
you.
up
I'm
and kick it
just-
and it just comes back over our head.
I'm just furthering your point.
Yeah. Fair enough.
We win the clearance, and then we got in the first quarter in particular, we were on top for a good 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
Every time we kicked it inside 50, you're right, it was a 2-on-1, generally against Francis, where, absolute best case scenario, Francis takes a mark. Next to that, he's never going to be able to make a 50-50 of it once it hits the ground. If he tries too hard to make that 50-50, he'll get pinged for holding the ball. So he's got to take a mark or we're always going to lose the ball. You're right, doesn't make sense. It's been an issue. It was talked about a lot during the Collingwood game.
Yeah. They killed us because of the Collingwood game, because we'd look up and then we'd have to stop and go backwards or handball. And
so now we're just kicking it long to no one, which I always find hilarious.
It's a better strategy, I guess.
I have these old blokes behind me constantly at the football, different old blokes, not the same old blokes, that it will sit there and go, oh, not this bloody handball shit. I go, yeah, okay, they've got nothing to kick to, but whatever, champ. 3 seconds later, they bomb it down the line straight to a opposition player. Oh, bloody kick it to no one. Shut up. Pick one. Do you want them to kick it to no one or do you want them to handball it?
Well, this is when structures are important.
It is important, but it cracks me up every time.
The other thing I wanted to mention too is our forward line. It has been good. It hasn't been good. There's a massive issue at the moment with some of the players in it. Waterman, I don't understand his role.
Waterman's out, straight out of that side.
Yeah.
No chance he stays in.
I was pretty disappointed with Franger, and I do love the Frang. He just spilt everything. He just looked. He's confident. Him and Peter Wright look like confidence players, and when it's down, it's can be down.
I think Francis is a bit less like that. He had his first shot at goal and kicked it.
Yep.
Which, if that was right, he could have kicked 7. If that was Sean McKernan,
but Franger dropped so many marks.
Yeah, so he's right.
Yeah,
and Wright, I don't want to hang shit on Wright because he's only gone goalless, I think, once or maybe twice, the Fremantle game and now this game all year. And he's been he won us the Hawthorn game. He's kicked bags of 4, and I don't think you are allowed to have one bad game. No, you're not going to win the Common Medal if you have a bad game, but you're allowed to have a bad game. So
you're allowed to have a lot of bad games, but you still got a lot. And what I think from what I took from that game, he still covered a lot of kilometers. He just couldn't mark. He couldn't. And the issue is, and I saw it 3 or 4 times when he dropped the ball or spilt the mark, which is fine. You can't mark everything. There were no Essendon. There is no smart forwards sitting under him. The number of times I watched a Richmond defender just stand in front of him, watch the ball hit down, they took the crumb and ran away. Well,
and then
they're already better at it than us.
I commented on this as I was writing my little stat sheet up. Is it Liam Baker?
Yeah, I reckon it was.
Liam Baker had 30 touches off halfback. That tells me that it came out way too easy.
I reckon 5 of them or 6 of them were just crumbing from Peter Wright or Francis.
I don't blame Pete. He had a stinker, absolute stinker, but I'm not going to hang shit on him. We need another Stuart Cramery, just a third option, even if that became Francis and we got another second tall.
But is that Stringer that's not playing?
Nah, because he rolls through the guts too much. I think you could have another tall and Stringer.
So who are our 6? If you were to pick, 6 forwards, just pick 6 forwards now.
Really
best
hard
6
because it has to be Wright and Jones.
Wright and Jones, yep.
And then Francis for that third tall, but that's bordering on. I don't know if that works. I just don't know if it works.
Who are the smalls you put in there then? At their feet.
Devon Smith. That's just out of sheer desperation. He chased hard and really put a lot of effort in Saturday night. The stats wouldn't have reflected it probably, but I thought he was okay. Crickets. I got no idea after that.
It is crickets. I reckon you just have to play Wanganeen. If he's fit, I just merely say, well, give him the experience, let him learn. He'll do a couple of things. We'll go, wow, talented. If his body, obviously, don't want to injure him. he'd be someone I'd be playing, and I'd be just looking into the VFL. Like, does Tom Hurd get a couple of games?
I know you're going to be fundamentally against this.
Yep.
And I don't think it's a permanent solution, even within a game as a permanent forward. But Ben
I think
Hobbs.
I'm going to agree with it.
Hobbs.
Oh,
He's shown he has a decent set shot.
What about Hind?
No, hang on, let me finish my Hobbs thought.
Okay.
Decent set shot, kicked 2 goals Saturday night. I know we want him to be midfielder, and I don't advocate him spending his entire time in the forward line like Cam Rayner, for example.
Yep.
But just as an option for now, if he played 80%, 75, 80% forward, and then the rest of the time rolled through the midfield just once or twice a quarter, whatever it might be.
Yeah. But I would... We're not really doing that with
either.
We're not doing that with Perkins at the moment, and I would say he's more advanced than Hobbs at the moment. So I don't know if we're going to do it. My theory would be maybe someone like Hind, and do we, surely. What about that? Here's a question. What about that Garrett Mick?
No.
Why did we pick him then? If he's not getting a game at the moment, like, we are about as stretched as we can be to find players at the moment. Like,
yeah, I'm with you. That pick makes no sense whatsoever. I watched the last quarter of the VFL, and it was, I mean, collectively, Richmond weren't brilliant either. The worst half an hour of my life at the MCG. McDonough did nothing for one. I kept an eye on him for that reason that we've talked about him, and it just doesn't make sense. Jones looked pretty ordinary, but maybe just a bit of match fitness. Yep. There was another tall for us who I didn't actually know who it was. Maybe took a really nice pack mark.
Cody Brand had 24 or 26 touches.
Yeah, it was a really nice pack mark.
Defense?
No, he was forward.
Oh, no. Oh, that might have been...
Air is the only one I thought it might have been. Anyway, there's nothing in the VFL. There's nothing there that made me go, oh, yeah, get him in. Ham looked about the place, but just had one moment of got absolutely poleaxed in a tackle just because he had zero awareness of what was around him.
Yeah, we're not going forward with picking Ham. Yeah.
I agree, but that's about all I could come up with.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right, we'll move on. We want to talk about, we're going to do like an around the grounds kind of thing, just a couple of minutes on some footy we've seen over the weekend that maybe not Essendon.
Yep. Then
we'll get to the votes, we'll get to your comments, and I'll get to the Who Am I after that. I got a good one for you today.
Oh, God.
I think the only thing we really want to mention around the grounds, so to speak, is the umpiring. I'll preface it with, I did some research. Since 2013, as far back as I could go, this is the highest number of free kicks per game we've paid.
This year?
2022 is the highest number of free kicks per game.
Yeah.
Since 2013.
It feels like that. It feels like the umpires are blowing the whistle more often. Like, the game feels very stop-start because of free kicks.
Yeah. Now, you sent me the link to the AFL website today for the laws of the game.
Laws of the game. I was curious to look into, like, we often talk about the rules, but I don't
really know them.
I don't know them. I can't. I can tell you what my interpretation have been for 40 years.
So the 50-metre penalty, 19.1, if you're interested out there. Spirit and intention. After a mark or free kick has been awarded to a player, a 50-metre penalty will be awarded against the opposing team which delays or impedes the play or behaves in an unsportsmanlike manner. Nowhere in that document does it say dissent.
No, you can't.
Reference. It is the unsportsmanlike manner.
If you search the document for dissent, it's not in there. The word dissent is not in there. But if you go to umpires, 18.8, look at us with quoting numbers.
Let me just go to 18.8.
Umpires shall be protected from unreasonable contact behaviour whilst performing their duties, and their decisions should be respected as followed by players and officials. Free kick umpires. A field umpire shall award a free kick against a player or official who, A, uses abusive, insulting, threatening, or obscene language toward an umpire. Gotcha. No worries. That's fair. Behaves in an abusive, insulting, threatening, or obscene manner towards an umpire. Gotcha. No worries. Intentionally, unreasonably, or carelessly makes contact with an umpire. Gotcha. No worries. Disputes a decision of the umpire. Well, hang on. So you can't say that wasn't out or I marked it.
This is just now like syntax, which is the problem because there's interpretation of that in 17 different ways.
Well, disputes.
What that example you gave me from the Carlton-Sydney game, Sydney players running up the guts, bounced the ball, took like 10 more steps and then got pinged for run too far. Right? The logical solution to that is that either A, the umpire just stuffed up, or B, he didn't see the Sydney player bounce the ball. Right? Sydney players then said, I bounced the ball. Did you see me bounce the ball? Umpires paid 50.
And as he said it, he moved his arms, which I still don't get the
wording, though? What was that wording to that last point you just said?
Disputes a decision of the of an umpire.
That's not a dispute. Well, did you see me bounce the ball? The umpire just needs to say, yes, I did. I still think you ran too far. Or, no, I didn't. I fucked up.
Disputes could be as soon as you say, but it's not. Well, you're disputing me. Sorry, that's 50. But surely it goes back to that uses abusive, insulting, threatening, or obscene language. That's the key, but I bounced it.
The kicker for me too is the reasoning behind this is to get more umpires in the game, right? Yeah. No one wants to umpire because they're all getting insulted by the players. Every single one of them umpires got booed off quite loudly by the team that won Saturday night.
Oh, that's interesting. It was the team that won.
No, we got so...
Yeah, we did get a lot of... Yeah. It was that Hobbs one.
I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
But they won and still took the time to boo you off the ground. That puts me off wanting to umpire.
Yeah.
So don't worry about little Johnny and saying, did you see me bounce it there, champ? Worry about your reactions from the crowd. And I was in that Fremantle game against us a month ago.
Yep.
Where in the first half, we felt like we were getting the real raw end of the deal.
Yep.
They were copping it.
Yep.
Like, if you want to encourage people to get into umpiring, fix umpiring.
Yeah.
Don't just make it worse by this shit.
You know, the other thing I was thinking about too. So we watch a bit of cricket too, you and I. Now, in Test cricket, they have Simon Hawthorne, is his name? Is that the guy that comes on, the umpiring guy?
Sure, go with it.
Well, there's an umpire. So there's a cricket umpire that the Channel 9 guys, or whatever channel it's on these days, they interview. And they say, he pops up with so the rules of the game say this, or, if it's certain things are happening in the game, and they say, the rules say actually this and that. And they talk to him about the rules, and they say, this is what's going to happen. No, I watch a bit of Fox. I watch a little bit of the 7 broadcast. I do find the commentators more painful. But do they, for one, couple of those commentators don't know the rules. Like Brian Taylor, he struggles with the rules. How about they get an official ex-umpire on and they involve him on Friday and Saturday night games at halftime, quarter time to review some decisions?
They've had Ray Chamberlain on. But that's the problem. They're getting the popular guy.
Yeah, not Ray Chamberlain.
I did see a little snippet. Will Schofield.
And an ex one. Is he still umpiring?
I don't know. I did see Will Schofield on TikTok. He does a podcast now. I've seen a few snippets of him. Quite funny stuff. He had Dean Margetts on, who's obviously retired now, but WA-based umpired a lot of games of football. I think Essendon fans didn't typically like the guy, but, that's whatever. And he said, bless you, he said he made a mistake one game, just an outright blatant mistake. Yeah. Like, he blew the whistle and said 50-metre penalty. Didn't even pay a free kick, just said 50-metre penalty. He got dropped.
Oh, wow.
And then they were joking between them about players getting dropped and umpires getting dropped when they get dropped together and you go back to the waffle. Dean Margetts in the twos. I thought it was quite funny. Just, it humanised him.
Yep.
A little bit. Just that, I had a shocker. I blew the whistle and said 50. I just totally had a shocker. But bit more of that. Bit more of humanising them. And clear your rules, because there's too many if, buts, and maybes. We had this thing at the start of the year where you couldn't do 360.
Yeah, that's you can do
Happened
that.
like 17 times on
Yeah,
Saturday
you can
night.
still do that. That's
You can
that
still do
hasn't-
360s. What happened to that?
And occasionally you'll see a player stand when they've been told to stand, they'll move a foot and the umpires don't call it. I think the two rules like that stand one is fine, but the 50 is too much of an over punishment for it. Because the players are now trying to trick him into moving, like by doing a little fakey handball. Now,
we got
that's
one
not what
doing that.
that's not what the rule should be. The rule shouldn't be about I'm trying to trick you to get a 50. Like, I don't like that manipulation already. It should be like the umpire. Again, it comes down to the interpretation of the umpire. No, he hasn't affected you. You're fucking around with him. Just
the protected space thing too. There was one in maybe the Hawthorn Brisbane game, which was the most amount of free kicks in a game of football for like 10 years.
63 or something.
Still really high scoring, which was bizarre. But anyway, where the bloke with the footy had moved back from the mark and was about to take his kick. I think it was a Hawthorn player had the ball. There's a Brisbane player running with his Hawthorn opponent. At the last second, the Hawthorn player ran one way, leaving the Brisbane player to keep running.
Yep.
And the umpire paid 50. Just a bit of logic in that situation goes, he was following his opponent. The opponent took a sharp left turn and left him high and dry.
But that's what the players are doing now.
That cost them a goal in a game they lost by 5 points.
Doherty did that from Carlton. Doherty did that last week to someone too. Sucked him in. He was trailing him, and then he split one way and made the other guy split the opposite way because he couldn't go with him. And the umpire called a 50. But again, you've got to understand. It's about interpretation of the game and having a bit of awareness about the situation. He's tricked you. He's trying to pull that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you just pull your own jumper and go, look, umpire, he's pulling my jumper. I feel like that. Like it's that sort of stupidness. But he's not really.
Yeah. This is what I mean. Look at that sort of thing and go, right. If the player with the football fakes a possession, if he goes to handball it or goes to kick it and the player steps off the mark, that's not 50.
No.
If he moves unprovoked, that's 50.
Yeah, that's right. If he runs because he's forgotten the rules, then no, that's 50.
Yeah.
Or if he charges at the guy with the ball, no, that's 50.
If a player tells you to go and get fucked and I'm going to meet you at your car after the game, you better watch your back, pay 50. If a bloke says to you, what was that for? Or do you see me bounce the ball? Or why was that a free kick? They need to be allowed to ask that.
Yep.
There was one more that annoyed me.
They're grown men. There's a bit of passion in the game. We don't want to take that away from the game.
Just be not even polite. Just be reasonable with umpires. There shouldn't be an issue.
100%. But if they're swearing and cursing and pay a 50, but if they're just asking you why with a big voice, deal with it.
Yep. Two more things very quickly. There was one where Hind got corralled by two Richmond players. He was very close to the boundary line, ran out, and they paid deliberate or insufficient attempt, whatever. The insufficient attempt needs to go. Deliberate's okay. Insufficient attempt needs to rack off. Give the defenders something, for God's sake.
But we've talked about this, though. So you can punch the ball and deliberately punch it over the boundary in a marking contest.
But
if you kick it 45 metres up the ground while you're being tackled, and the ball bounces end on end, then trickles out over
right angles out. Yeah, they'll
then right angles out. That's insufficient attempt.
Garbage.
And I'm like,
and the other one was, and again, it's more us related, even though I still think we got a good run with the umpires. On the members' wing, there was an Essendon player with the ball, got tackled, fully facing the crowd. Umpire was completely blindsided, right directly behind him. Could not have been any more behind him. I was on that side. I saw the Essendon player go and just get a little farty handball out. Farty. I love a good farty handball. Umpire paid holding the ball. And you're guessing.
Yeah.
You cannot see if he's gotten rid of the ball or not. You are completely guessing. Not his fault. He has to guess.
Okay.
Can't do anything else.
Again, boundary umpire could have helped him out.
Boundary umpire with a little microphone, just say handball, no handball.
Yeah.
Cost nothing. Same with goal umpires. Just, they don't make decisions, but
We've got so many of them on the field. Let's get them involved.
Be in the ear.
Let's have more umpires so we can make more decisions. Have more.
I'm okay with more umpires. Honestly, if there's one on either side of the contest, so they're never blindsided. Excellent.
There'll probably just be more decisions, though, buddy. Let's go back just to one umpire.
Jesus, no. All right, better move on because we're waffling severely here.
We lost everyone. Has everyone left?
Yeah, we lost about 30% then. But anyway. Went from 15.
Well, that was a great new segment from us, people. We'll be doing that again next week.
It did go from 15 to 10, so it's not as dramatic as 30% sounds. Who am I? It's a corker.
Sam.
This week. You told me to be more positive last week. Now you're criticising me for being positive.
No. Who am I? I went, Sam? That's a dad joke right there, buddy. Boom.
That was pathetic, dude.
Brilliant. It's classic.
All right. For 6 points, I played 184 games across 12 seasons. No, Murray, it's not Willie Dick.
We're going to name an award the Willie Dick Award.
We should actually.
We should name it just this segment, the Willie Dick. The Willie Dick segment. The Willie Dick trivia quiz. Something. What was it? So 184 over 12 seasons.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Not even a year you're going to give me at the start.
Again, it should be impossible.
Yeah, I know. 184. Far out. Michael Long. You played about that many.
Well, that would have been clever of me, but no. For 5 points, I debuted in 1997 and retired in 2008.
Okay, it's always around there. 97.
We can't have silence. Give me something.
No. I have no idea.
Someone's got it.
Oh, what? Jesus Christ! They should have a podcast.
Did you use Google, Danny? Tell me. Be honest. I won't judge.
Oh, we'll judge. We'll judge very harshly, Danny.
Anything?
No, I can't even think of a player at the moment.
All right. For 4 points, and this is a bit of a terrible clue, but anyway, for 4 points, I played in the 2000 Premiership side, and that includes playing every single game in 2000, all 25 games.
I'll go with someone like not Kelthorpe. What's his name? Took Mark of the Year. He was in the 2000 side, wasn't he?
Moorcroft?
Moorcroft.
Not Moorcroft.
He wouldn't have played that many games anyway.
And I wouldn't have told you it was Moorcroft unless it
yes, that's true. That would have been Stu. That would ruin the whole thing.
All right, that's your guess. For 3 points, I wore the number 14 for the majority of my career.
Oh, Johnson.
I'm going to need a bit more than that there, champ.
It was Mark. Or was it Jason? Jason Johnson. It was Jason Johnson. I don't know. It was
Jason Johnson. For 2
was
points,
a hard nut.
Would have been, I share the surname with another Essendon player. We were often confused for brothers.
Yeah, see?
And for 1 point, I am Jason Johnson.
Oh, that's one of my better ones.
Danny got 5 points, then you got 3.
3 points.
It's not normally the number clue that gets it for you, so that's good.
Yeah, no, I remember my Jason Johnson, whichever one it was. Mark Johnson must have wore
1, I think.
Yes, he did. Well done. I love the Johnson boys. They were
great,
hard units. Yeah. So many times, Jason Johnson would kick it down to Lloyd, like just the memories of clearance down to Lloyd goal. It was just such an easy game.
Dems with the days. All right, very quickly, we're going to do our votes. For me, 3 Redmond, 2 Parish, and 1 to Dylan Shield. Yes, that's a pity vote, but oh well.
I don't appreciate it. I'm doing 3 Redmond. I thought he was his, as I said, probably his best game for the club, and there should be talk about other positions he can play on that game, and on the period of last few games he's played. 2 for Parish because I thought he really gave a lot of effort for the whole game.
Ignore 43 possessions.
Yeah, you can't ignore 43 games. I know people say, "Oh, but he didn't do anything and all that sort of shit," but I don't know where we are without those 43 possessions.
Game high tackles or club high tackles as well.
Club high tackles is the other important thing, especially after coming off what we did the week before. And I'm going to give the 1 to Zachy Reid because 0 goals. Holding
Tom Lynch goalless.
Holding Tom Lynch goalless. Boom.
Very good.
That is a great effort for a kid that's played, 5 games? I don't know what he's played.
Yeah, it would be less than that, if not 5.
He's played 3 in a row, I reckon, at the moment. It was 1 last year, so I wouldn't even mind letting him be 5 yet. He might get a Rising Star nominee before the end of the year, you'd nearly think. That guy from Hawthorn should get one, that with the headband. I can never think of his name.
He's already got one.
Oh, has he? Oh, yeah. He
Hobbs,
could win
Hobbs will be getting close. Hobbs has had a few good games in a row, which is normally what they look for.
Yeah, true.
Just in terms of the comments, Murray did mention Snelling when we were talking about the forward line. That's a good shout.
Oh, good point.
He
Yeah, see,
goes
that's the
straight
guy
back
we're
in
missing.
there. Yeah.
So he can do two roles. So he can tackle and harass, do smart things, go in the midfield. You know, he directs the troops too. He's a bit of a leader in the forward line. Good point. I often forget about Snelly.
So do I, which is a shame because he's my favourite.
Well, he top 3 or 4 in the best and fairest last year, wasn't he, or something like that? Or
Top 3, I think. I think he came third.
Yeah.
Joe said didn't watch the game, knew we weren't going to get up when the other guy who got dropped from that abysmal performance last week was Cutler, and he ended up playing and was awful. I'll watch this week's game. I reckon we can win that one.
Against Port in Port.
Tempted to go. If you are in Melbourne and do have the means, it's about $13 flight to get from Melbourne to Adelaide.
Really? Is it?
And then it's about 120 back at that time of night. But yeah, going is ridiculously cheap if you are interested through Webjet. I'll take commission. On $13, it won't be much, but get over there and support the boys. I can't do that and go to work the next day, so I'll give it a miss. But if you're interested. And Christopher, Mr. Rule.
Oh, God, Christopher.
Friend of the show, I have to say.
Big statement.
Big deal in reference to keeping Tom Lynch goalless. It is a big deal. Thanks, Chris.
It is a big deal. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, fully support that. Thank you, Chris. You can comment any more time you want. It's great to have Richmond supporters following and supporting our young players. Big deal.
Right.
What's what we should nickname Zachy Reid? The big deal.
The big deal. Oh, thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Might get that tattooed on me next week.
The big deal.
The big deal.
Along with your Frio flag thing.
I'll talk about it. You shouldn't be taking joy in Collingwood winning. You should.
No, I don't take joy in Collingwood winning, but I do take a little bit of joy in your bubble being burst a little.
It's not burst yet. Flags aren't won in round 10 or before that.
They can be lost, though.
I'm a bit concerned that Brisbane lost, and we do have another.
Yeah, we've got another important bet.
Side bet going with a Richmond supporter.
A nicer one, not like that Chris guy that spoke before.
No, God, no. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. We've been waffling for 50 minutes of your Monday night. That is more than enough. As always, thank you to those in the chat. Makes it really good to sit here. Gives us some other ideas to talk about as well, which I really like.
Yeah,
massive numbers on YouTube for the preview. Thank you to everyone who watched it.
8 or 9, you told me, and my mum.
Sure. We went from about 120 to 360 odd, which is massive.
Yeah, that's actually
for no apparent reason. But anyway, thank you for that.
Did you have your shirt on in that one? Was that the one you didn't wear a shirt?
If there wasn't, they would go down, not up. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Thank you for coming along and listening. And we'll chat to you Thursday night for the Port preview. Go Dons.
Go Bombers.